It's 3 a.m. The headache that was a dull buzz this afternoon is now a knife behind your eye. The tooth that twinged at lunch is throbbing so hard you can hear your own heartbeat in it. The cut on your hand, the sore back, the cramp, the burn, whatever it is, it has waited for the dark to come back stronger. And you tell yourself it's just in your head. But it isn't. Pain genuinely does feel worse at night. Scientists have measured it. Your nerves are firing differently right now than they were 6 hours ago. Your brain is processing the same signal as if it were turned up. And the reason for it is buried somewhere between your hormones, your evolution, and a kind of darkness your body still doesn't trust. Let's start with the clock inside you, because almost every system in your body runs on one. It's called your circadian rhythm, and it's older than fire. It's older than language. Every cell in your body has a tiny molecular clock ticking inside it, calibrated by a master clock in a region of the brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. That clock decides when to release hormones, when to repair tissue, when to digest, when to sleep. And it decides hour by hour how loud your nerves are allowed to scream. In 2019, researchers at Boston Brigham and Women's Hospital ran an experiment. They kept volunteers awake in a controlled lab for 34 hours straight, with no clocks, no daylight, no temperature changes, nothing that could tell their bodies what time it was. Then they applied measured heat pain to their skin every 2 hours and asked them to rate it. The results were almost too clean to believe. Pain sensitivity peaked at roughly 3 to 4 a.m. and bottomed out at around 3 p.m. The exact same heat on the exact same skin hurt significantly more in the dead of night. Not because anyone was sleepier or more tired, their internal clock alone was turning the volume up. So what is your body actually doing differently at night? Start with cortisol. Cortisol is your body's natural anti-inflammatory. It's the hormone that quiets pain, suppresses swelling, and keeps your nervous system steady. And cortisol levels are highest in the early morning, around the time you wake up. They drop steadily through the day. By the middle of the night, they hit their lowest point. In other words, the chemical your body uses to mute pain is almost gone at 3 a.m. Now add melatonin. Melatonin rises after dark and tells your body it's time to sleep. But melatonin also lowers your body temperature, slows your breathing, and shifts your nervous system into a state of heightened internal awareness. When you're asleep or near sleep, the parts of your brain that process external distractions go quiet. Without distractions, signals from inside your body get louder. The throb of a tooth, the pulse in a swollen ankle, the ache of a cramp. They were always there. Daylight just buried them. And there's a third layer, and this is the strangest one. Inflammation itself runs on a schedule. Researchers studying rheumatoid arthritis discovered something patients had been saying for decades. The pain and stiffness in their joints peaked between 2 and 6 a.m. For years, doctors assumed it was just because patients were lying still for too long. But the chemistry told a different story. Your immune system releases cytokines, small inflammatory proteins that attack injuries and infections. Cytokine activity is much higher at night. Your body literally chooses the dark hours to do its inflammatory work, because that's when you're meant to be still and healing. The problem is that high inflammation also means more pain. The very process meant to repair you is the same process that wakes you up at 3 a.m. with your knee on fire. But chemistry is only half the answer. The rest is in your head. In 1965, researchers Ronald Melzack and Patrick Wall proposed something called the gate control theory of pain. The idea was simple, but radical at the time. Pain isn't just a signal traveling from a wound to your brain. It passes through gates in the spinal cord that can open wider or close, depending on what else your brain is paying attention to. Stub your toe in a busy room and the pain fades fast. Stub your toe alone in a silent house and it lingers. The wound is the same. The gate is different. During the day, your brain is flooded with input. Conversations, screens, traffic, sunlight, hunger, deadlines. Your attention is divided across hundreds of small things. Pain has to fight for a slice of that attention. It often loses. At night, the room is silent. The lights are off. There's nothing to look at, no one to talk to, no email to answer. The gates swing wide open. The pain that was always there finally has the entire stage to itself. And here's where it gets darker. Your brain doesn't just feel the pain at night, it interprets it. Sleep deprivation, even mild, makes pain feel worse. A 2019 study at UC Berkeley showed that just one night of poor sleep increases pain sensitivity in healthy adults by up to 30%. The brain regions that normally dampen pain, the nucleus accumbens, the insular cortex, go quieter when you're tired. The regions that amplify pain go louder. Lie in bed for an hour staring at the ceiling because your back hurts, and you become more sensitive to pain with every minute, which makes the pain feel worse, which keeps you awake longer, which makes you more sensitive still. It's a loop, and almost everyone has been inside it. Now zoom out, because none of this is an accident. Pain works this way for a reason, and that reason is older than every clock and screen and hospital that exists today. For most of human history, night was the most dangerous part of the day. Predators hunted in the dark. Wounds in the wild were a death sentence if they got infected. So evolution wired your body to do something specific while you slept. Inflammation rose. Repair began. The immune system went into overdrive at the exact moment your conscious mind shut down, so it wouldn't get in the way. The pain that came with that repair wasn't a flaw, it was a feature. It was your body's way of saying, do not move this leg tonight. Do not walk on this foot. Do not strain this rib while we fix it. Your ancestors needed pain at night to survive, because moving while wounded got you killed. Today, you're lying on a memory foam mattress in a heated room with antibiotics in your medicine cabinet. But your body doesn't know that. It's still running a 300,000-year-old program. Still deciding that 3 a.m. is the right hour to flood your tissues with inflammation and your nerves with signal. Because as far as your biology is concerned, you're still in a cave waiting for dawn. And there's one more piece, the loneliest one. In 2018, researchers found that people in pain at night don't just suffer more physically, they suffer more emotionally. The amygdala, the brain region that processes fear, becomes more active in response to pain when a person is alone, in the dark, and tired. Pain at 3 a.m. doesn't just feel sharper, it feels worse, heavier, more frightening, more permanent. This is part of why chronic pain is so closely linked to depression and anxiety. It isn't only that pain wears people down, it's that the worst hours of pain happen when no one is awake to share them with. No partner to talk to, no friend to call, no light to remind you the day is coming. For our ancestors, this might have been the single most important reason humans started gathering around fires. Not just for warmth, not just for protection, but because the worst part of being human, the throbbing tooth, the broken bone, the fevered child, the dying parent, was always worse alone in the dark. The fire wasn't just light, it was company. It was a way to share the longest hours. So the next time you wake up at 3 a.m. with something in your body screaming louder than it did at noon, know what's actually happening. Your cortisol is at its lowest. Your inflammation is at its highest. The gate in your spinal cord is wide open. Your brain is starved of distraction. Your hormones are drowning out your defenses. And your evolutionary programming is still convinced you're a wounded animal in a quiet world full of predators. Pain doesn't get worse at night because you're imagining it. It gets worse at night because for almost all of human history, that's exactly when your body needed it to. You're not broken at 3 a.m. You're just remembering.